So just a few ideas. I think tonight's conversation, from what I've heard, has been really, some of the ideas I thought were terrific. And I think that dialogue, expand that dialogue to engage all the stakeholders, especially the owners. One can criticise a statutory body for not engaging, but one thing a community should always do is engage. And I know sometimes the statutory bodies don't want to engage, but there's examples where they are engaging. There's the Department of Agriculture engaging, actually funding and resourcing a process. So sometimes you have to hold a mirror, you have to hold accountability, but make sure engage. And engage at a senior level. Create that opportunity for everybody to have a voice, and consider how best to have that community conversation in a controlled, focused process. Getting all the stakeholders together at a senior level and having a focused process. Because if it's not focused and you don't have the decision makers into the room, you can have all the conversations in the world, but if the decision makers don't sign on the dotted line, then that process can be ineffective. So it's developing a process where you get the decision makers into the room, and all of the decision makers and all of the parties, including, and most importantly, including the community. Thank you very much.
I'm going to just do a conclusion here for you now, and then just have a time whenever there's any questions for Donal or Laurie or anybody else or anything else to discuss. So the conclusion is just 2 slides on the conclusion about what we're looking for in a process here, and we're looking for an appropriate process. We're looking for a sustainable future. We're looking where the community needs are coming first, plus tourism and jobs. We're looking for the castle's needs to be protected, and not just used for profit, but set up in a way that you can draw down funding to do that. We want an open, transparent, and inclusive community conversation. We're looking for that 5 million of public funds to be used to benefit the community and not go to benefit private shareholders. We're looking for equestrian and non-equestrian and equine therapy to be put back, because it becomes the purpose that the funding that originally was given, lives on through that. That the profits from the estate go back into the estate and the community, that it's sustainable with low overheads and attractive to funders. So, currently it's going to be, they're set on a course at the moment for very high rent and very high rates, but what we're proposing would be not for profit, so it would be without rates and without rent. So that's a lot more sustainable, and I think that Donal probably could tell you that for some of the grants from the Heritage Lottery, that they need to be a not-for-profit community trust to draw down that funds. So it's really important that this happens in order to try and save the castle, and also that the estate isn't divided up. The current process allows for bits of the estate to be taken over, and potentially for the castle, which may be viewed as a liability, to be left alone. It's going to be so much harder to try and save that castle if it's standing on its own. So it's only an inclusive community trust that works together with everybody and can provide that. So our conclusion is, what now? We all need to come together. Do not, and I've said this many times, do not leave this up to the few volunteers that you see before you this evening. You have to own this. Everybody has to take ownership of this process. You've got to talk to the local councillors. They have the vote. We live in a democracy, and you have to communicate with them. You have to lift the phone, talk to them, email them. Ask the political parties, are they in support of this or not? Use your democracy, use your vote at this time. This is a really good time to make this happen. And let us know what they say, because we need them to vote on this, and we need them to say, no, hold on a minute, there's a better way to go here, there's a better process to go down with this, rather than just letting this go off to private investors. follow the Saving Necarne on Facebook. If you're not already on Facebook with Saving Necarne, get on there because we're posting up regular posts. Get your friends and family on there. Help that to grow because it's using social media for us to try and connect and to be able to keep each other informed and resource. There's a sheet going around this evening. I hope you put your name, your details on it. But please, at the end of the evening, if you think you can take an active role in this, and we really need that, come forward and speak to us particularly. There's no way we can do this on our own. We're here to tell you to try and bring us all together on this. We're going to be putting a petition up on Facebook, so from the outcome of this, we wanted to have tonight and have your input and have all the ideas on the table before we formed up a petition. We're going to be trying to watch Facebook for that coming up. And we need to present a case to the council. We need to get the council to listen. We just want them to be able to engage with us, which they're currently not doing. So we need the councillors to vote to abandon the expression of interest process. And they have that choice. It's in there, it's a choice, and we want them to be able to practice their own policies, because if you look at the new community plan or any of the community strategies, it's all full of fantastic speak about community ownership and community engagement. And we need to engage in an inclusive community conversation. This is Laurie's words, and I thank him for these, but this is really important. It's about bringing everybody together. Repairs to the estate and castle, as you know, it's been let really go downhill, but that's something that we really kind of need to talk about. But we want somehow between the castle and Dard to take responsibility for the incredible neglect that's happened to this fabulous venue. They have that responsibility. We don't think they should be going anywhere with any future lease or anything until they have made good their responsibilities, in that. We have a website. Some people were asking about the website. It's on that slide. It's Saving Necarne, www.savingnecarne.wordpress.com. It's been so busy in the few weeks that if you put in Saving Necarne into Google, actually it comes up. So thank you to Joe for the hotel. Thank you to the speakers, and thank you for coming. So I just want to get all that done so that anybody who's got children to put to bed or something like that and is waiting to get away can leave at this point. But we would really like you to stay and have a conversation with us, ask any other questions, and that's really about it. So thank you for all of that, but now if you want to open for questions to Laurie or Donal or anything, or if there's anything more you want to say, or you have any other ideas about how to take it forward, now's the time to share your ideas on what we can do now to influence the votes of your councillors, because it will come to a vote. It will be put before them by the civil servants now, and they will be asked what to do. So, any ideas on that? Now's the time.
Can we get email addresses?
Sorry, can I just ask a question? Was the council actually asked? Sorry, can I just get you to? Was the council actually asked to come tonight?
Yes. Yes, I can confirm that every district councillor was invited to be here tonight. And chose not to.
Now that we have come to the end of the evening, is it going to be a decision now to have another meeting next when we get time to think about this? Is this going to be?
Like it?
I think it'd be important to have another meeting when we get time to think about it and come back and.
When would you like? When would you like another meeting? What would you like? What would you like us to organise?
I would say, in a couple
2
of
weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So yes, we have a request. Are we writing down? Could we have our scribes? Could you change that layer there? Just so we get to this is the final layer. You've been filling these up really well. So yes, we just want to confirm that the councillors were, every one of them had an email, an invitation to come, and yes, they refused. And yes, a meeting again in 2 weeks. Sorry if I just go here, Fergus.
Is there a deadline that we have to get the forms for the right of way in by?
No, there is no deadline. Is Hugh still here? No, there's no deadline. But having said that, the sooner the better, because we need to start claiming this, and we need to start saying that this is your space.
Let's say the deadline is the next meeting in 2 weeks.
We'd like to say within the next 2 weeks, but we are going to be posting. Follow us on Facebook. We're going to post up guidance on that. We're going to keep trying to resource you guys as best we can. Okay? Sorry.
You say they're monitoring the expressions of interest as we speak.
Sorry?
The expressions of interest.
Yeah,
The end of November. They're,
yeah.
what happens after that?
What happens if the expression of interest?
What happens now is that we talked about the criteria at the beginning. So the council go to a process now of scoring that. They give 20% to this, they give 10% to this, they give whatever. So they're going through a process at the moment of scoring those criteria, and they say they'll be ready to present that to council by the end of November. That process can be stopped. Yes, it can, but it needs to be a movement of the community. It needs to be, we live in a democracy, and we need to make democracy work for us now. So that's what it's about. And that is a non-binding expression of interest, and they have a clause that they do not have to accept any of the people who came forward. That is a choice, and it is up to us as a community to make sure that we encourage them towards a better process, a better inclusive and a more appropriate process. Anyone else?
How do we get in touch? Do we have a list of email addresses for all the councils?
Yes, you simply, a question is a list of email addresses for all the councillors, and it's very simple. You just go into Google, you put in Fermanagh Omagh councillors, it'll bring you to the district council website, you click on your council, and then you go to councillors, it'll come up, it'll bring you their email addresses and their phone numbers. Get on the email, get on the phone.
We can ask individually the councillors to come along to the next meeting. It might be better than coming from this.
Do encourage your councillors to come along and engage. We simply want them to come and talk to us and engage with us and involve the community in this. It belongs to the community.
One thing you have to think about seriously now is between now and the next meeting, you've got to start organising. You need a steering committee. You need to, when your councillors come here, it's got to look like this is a serious business, and that people aren't just sort of talking here and talking there. Everybody's sitting around and they're taking the bit between their teeth, as it were.
Is that an offer to volunteer? I think that's an offer to volunteer.
Please volunteer, please. We do not leave this. We cannot take responsibility for this on our own. This is your community asset. Right, any more?
Yeah.
No, you speak. Can you just let them know? No, just let them know that whenever we organise the rally in Enniskillen, the councillors were also invited to come there. Was there one? Two.
When we organised the rally in Enniskillen, 2 district councillors came to that. They were invited again. Yes, 2 of them came.
It's just in regard to the councillors, because I'm just anticipating that you'll phone up your local councillor and they're going to say to you that this is a process that we can't stop it now, and we'll be taken to court if we get involved in stopping it and all that sort of stuff. So I think that you need to be, what Diane said earlier on, they even had a clause in the consultation, or the procurement process, saying that this is a non-binding process, and that there's no legal comeback on the council if they were to withdraw from it. So that's very important, because the councillors will try and bamboozle, in my honest opinion. They'll just say, I can't